lights up on Horace Walpole, who comes down from the stage and directly addresses one lady or two ladies in the audience. Break the fourth wall. The gentle maid, whose hapless tale these melancholy pages speak, say, gracious lady, shall she fail to draw the tear adown thy cheek? No, never was thy pitying breast insensible to human woes. Tender though firm, it melts distressed, for weakness it never knows. Oh, guard the marvels I relate, of fell ambitions scourged by fate, from reason's peevish blame. Blessed with thy smile, my dauntless sail I dare expand to fancy's gale, for sure thy smiles are fame. Walpole returns to the stage and begins telling his story. As he speaks each character's name, that character steps forward to be visible center stage. Manfred, Prince of Otranto, and his wife, the Princess Hippolyta, had one son and one daughter. The latter, a most beautiful virgin, aged 18, was called Matilda. Conrad, the son, was 3 years younger, a homely youth, sickly and of no promising disposition. Yet he was the darling of his father, who never showed any symptoms of affection to Matilda. Manfred had contracted a marriage for his son with the Marquis of Vicenza's daughter, Isabella, and she had already been delivered by her guardians into the hands of Manfred, that he might celebrate the wedding as soon as Conrad's infirm state of health would permit. Young Conrad's birthday was fixed for his espousals. The company was assembled in the chapel of the castle, and everything ready for beginning the divine office, when Conrad himself was missing. Manfred, impatient of the least delay, and who had not observed his son retire, dispatched one of his attendants to summon the young prince. The servant, who had not stayed long enough to have crossed the court to Conrad's apartment, came running back breathless in a frantic manner, his eyes staring and foaming at the mouth. He said nothing, but pointed to the court.
Oh, my lord, the prince, the helmet, the helmet!
What are you doing? Where is my son? Shocked with these lamentable sounds, and dreading he knew not what, Manfred advanced hastily, but what a sight for a father's eyes! He beheld his child dashed to pieces, and almost buried under an enormous helmet, 100 times more large than any casque ever made for human being, and shaded with a proportional quantity of black feathers. Manfred stares at the helmet. Hippolyta, horrified, faints away into the arms of Matilda and Isabella, lights down. Lights up on a room in the castle. Hippolyta and Isabella are seated together. Matilda enters from outside, looking grave.
Well, how does my lord the prince? He does well, my mother, and he supports his misfortune, the loss of his son, with manly fortitude.
But will he not let me see him? Will he not permit me to blend my tears with his and shed a mother's sorrows in the bosom of her lord? Or do you deceive me, Matilda? I know how Manfred doted on his son. Is not the stroke too heavy for him? Has he not sunk under it? If you do not answer me, alas, I dread the worst. Praise me, my maidens. I will see my lord. Bear me to him instantly. He is dear to me, even than my children.
Hippolyta starts to rise, but Matilda and Isabella are instantly at her side to stop her from leaving the room. Diego enters and addresses the ladies.
Lady Isabella, my lord Manfred desires to speak with you.
With me? Go. Manfred cannot support the sight of his own family. He thinks you less disordered than we are and dreads the shock of my grief. Console him, dear Isabella, and tell him I will smother my own anguish rather than add to his.
Matilda and Hippolyta leave the room. Isabella follows Diego. Manfred enters. Diego and Isabella enter also. Manfred seats himself and gestures for Isabella to join him. She sits down warily, and Manfred dismisses Diego. Take away that light, and be gone.
My lord?
I sent for you on a matter of great moment. Dry your tears, young lady. You have lost your bridegroom. Yes, cruel fate. And I have lost the hopes of my race. But Conrad was not worthy of your beauty.
How, my lord, sure, you do not suspect me of not feeling the concern I ought. My duty and affection would have all been...
I think no more of him. He was a sickly, puny child, and heaven has perhaps taken him away. but that I might trust the honors of my house on so frail a foundation. The child of Manfred calls for numerous supports. My foolish fondness for that boy blinded the eyes of my prudence, but it is better as it is. I hope in a few years to have reason to rejoice at the death of Conrad.
Good, my lord. Do not doubt my tenderness. My heart would have accompanied my hand. Conrad would have engrossed all my care, and wherever fate shall dispose of me, I shall always cherish his memory and regard your highness and the virtuous Hippolyta as my parent.
Curse on Hippolyta! Forget her for this moment, as I do. In short, lady, you have missed a husband undeserving of your charms. They shall now be better disposed of. Instead of a sickly boy, you shall find a husband in the prime of his age, who will know how to value your beauties and may expect a numerous offspring. In short, Isabella, since I cannot give you my son, I offer you myself.
Heavens! What do I hear? You, my lord, you! My father-in-law, the father of Conrad, the husband of the virtuous and tender Hippolyta.
I tell you, Hippolyta is no longer my wife. I divorced her at this hour. Too long has she cursed me in her unfruitfulness. My fate depends on having sons, and this night, I trust, will give me a new date to my hopes.
At those words, he seized the cold hand of Isabella, who was half dead with fright and horror. She shrieked, and starting from him, Manfred rose to pursue her, when the moon, which was now up, and gleamed in at the opposite casement, presented to his sights the plumes of the fatal helmet, which rose to the height of the windows, waving backwards and forwards in a tempestuous manner, and accompanied with a hollow and rustling sound. Isabella, who gathering courage from her situation, and dreading nothing so much as Manfred's pursuit of his declaration, cried,
Listen, my lord, see! Heaven itself declares against your impious intentions.
Heaven nor hell shall impede my designs.
There is the sound of clanking armor and footsteps. Manfred freezes and looks around for the source of the noise, but Isabella flees the stage, leaving him alone. By the time Manfred returns his attention to her, she is gone. Frustrated, he storms off stage after her. Ah! Isabella, whose resolution had given way to terror the moment she had quitted Manfred, continued her flight to the bottom of the principal staircase. Yet, where conceal herself? How avoid the pursuit he would infallibly make throughout the castle? Words cannot paint the horror of the princess's situation. For a considerable time she remained in an agony of despair. It gave her a kind of momentary joy to perceive an imperfect ray of clouded moonshine gleam from the roof of the vault, which seemed to be fallen in, and from whence hung a fragment of earth or building, she could not distinguish which, that appeared to have been crushed inwards. She advanced eagerly towards this chasm when she discerned a human form standing close against the wall.
Be not alarmed, lady. I will not injure you.
Sir, whoever you are, take pity on a wretched princess standing on the brink of destruction. Assist me to escape from this fatal castle, or in a few moments I may be made miserable forever.
Alas, but what can I do to assist you? I will die in your defense, but I am unacquainted with the castle and want...
Help me but to find a trapdoor that must be hereabout, and it is the greatest service you can do me, for I have not a minute to lose. But only help me to find a smooth piece of brass enclosed in one of these stones. That is the lock, which opens with the spring, of which I know the secret. If we can find that, I may escape. If not, alas, courteous stranger, I fear I shall have involved you in my misfortunes. Manfred will suspect you for the accomplice of my flight, and you will fall a victim to his resentment.
I value not my life, and it will be some comfort to lose it in trying to deliver you from his tyranny.
Generous youth, how shall I ever requite...
Isabella manages to find the piece of brass on the floor and the lock.
Oh, transport! Here is the trapdoor. Lift up the door, and we shall descend by these steps into the vault below. Be cautious, and follow me closely. Then, dark and dismal as it is, we cannot miss our way. It leads directly to the church of St. Nicholas. But perhaps you have no reason to leave the castle, nor have I farther occasion for your service. In a few minutes, I shall be safe from Manfred's rage. Only let me know to whom I am so much obliged.
Theodore raises the trapdoor.
I will never quit you until I have placed you in safety. nor think me, princess, more generous than I am, though you are my principal care.
Running footsteps can suddenly be heard from off stage, followed by Manfred's voice.
Talk me not of necromancers. I tell you she must be in the castle. I will find her in spite of enchantment.
Oh, heavens! It is the voice of Manfred! Make haste or we are ruined, and shut the trapdoor after you!
It must be Isabella. She's escaping by the subterraneous passage. She cannot have got far.
Isabella runs off, and Theodore isn't fast enough to catch up with her before Manfred arrives with soldiers.
Who art thou? How camest thou here? Hast thou seen aught of the Princess Isabella?
I am a stranger here, my lord. I apologize for trespassing in your castle, but I seem to have lost my way. I have seen no one, not the princess, nor anyone else.
But what noise was that I heard as I entered the cloister?
A door clapped. I heard it as well as you.
What door?
I am not acquainted with your castle. This is the first time I ever entered it, and this vault the only part of it within which I ever was.
But I tell thee, it was this way I heard the noise. My servants heard it too.
My lord, to be sure it was the trapdoor. He was trying to make his escape with the princess.
Face, blockhead! If he was going to escape, how should he come by on this side? I will know from mine own mouth what noise it was I heard. Tell me truly, thy life depends on thy veracity.
My veracity is dearer to me than my life, nor would I purchase the one by forfeiting the other.
Well then, thou man of truth, answer! Was it the fall of the trapdoor that I heard?
It was.
It was! And how didst thou come to know there was a trapdoor here?
I saw the plate of brass by a gleam of moonshine.
What told me it was a lock? How didst thou discover the secret of opening it?
Providence was able to direct me to the spring of a lock.
Providence should have gone a little further and have placed thee out of reach of my resentment. When Providence had taught thee to open the lock, it abandoned thee for a fool who did not know how to make use of its favors. Why didst thou not pursue the path pointed out for thy escape? Why didst thou shut the trapdoor before thou hadst descended the steps?
I might ask you, my lord, how I, totally unacquainted with your castle, was to know that those steps led to any outlet. But I scorn to evade your questions. Wherever those steps lead to, perhaps I should have explored the way. I could not be in a worse situation than I was. But the truth is, I let the trapdoor fall, your immediate arrival followed. I had given the alarm. What imported it to me whether I was to seize a minute or sooner or a minute later?
Thou art a resolute villain for thy years, yet on reflection I suspect thou dost but trifle with me. Thou hast not yet told me how thou didst open the lock.
Before Theodore can answer, Diego comes running in.
Where is my lord? Where is the prince?
Here I am. Have you found the princess?
We thought we had, my lord,
But what? Has she escaped?
Good, my lord.
Speak quickly, I ask you. Where is the princess?
I do not know, but I am frightened out of my wits.
So I think, blockhead, what is it has scared you thus?
My gracious lord, if it please your highness to hear me, Jacques and I, according to your highness's orders, went to search for the young lady, but being comprehensive that we might meet the ghost of my young lord, your highness's son, God rest his soul, says he has not received Christian burial.
Sot! There's only a ghost then that thou hast seen?
Oh, worse, worse. My lord, I had rather have seen 10 whole ghosts. I was going to tell your highness that since the calamitous misfortune of my young lord, God rest his precious soul, not one of us, your highness's faithful servants, indeed we are, my lord, not poor men, I say, not one of us has dared to set foot about the castle, but two together. So, Jacques and I, thinking that my young lady might be in the great gallery, went up there to look for her, and tell her, your highness wanted something to impart to her, but the devil shall have me before I seek her there again. Poor Jacques. I do not believe he'll ever recover it.
Recover what? Am I never to learn what it has terrified these rascals? But I lose my time. This is nothing but a foolish fancy. There is nothing but no one in the gallery. I leave thy nonsense and follow me to the castle.
For heaven's sake, my dear good lord, do not go to the gallery. Satan himself, I believe, is in the chamber next to the gallery.
What is in the great chamber?
My lord, when Jacques and I came into the gallery, he went first, for he said he had more courage than I. So when we came into the gallery, we found nobody. We looked under every bench and stool, and still we we found nobody. When we came to the door of the great chamber, we found it shut.
And could not you open it?
Oh, yes, my lord. Would to heaven have you not. Nay, it was not I neither. It was Jacques who grown foolhardy and would go on, though I advised him not, if I ever open a door that is shut again.
Diego, tell me, I assure thee, by the souls of my ancestors, what was it thou sawest? What was it thou heardest?
It was Jacques saw it, my lord. It was not I. I only heard the noise. Jacques had no sooner opened the door than he cried out and ran back. I ran back too and said, "Is it the ghost?" "The ghost? No, no," said Jacques, and his hair stood on end. "It is a giant, I believe. He is all clad in armor, for I saw his foot and part of his leg, and they are as large as the helmet below in the court." And as he said these words, my lord, we heard a violent motion and the rattling of armor, as if the giant was rising. For Jacques had told me since that he believes the giant was lying down, for the foot and leg were stretched at the length on the floor. Before we could get to the end of the gallery, we heard the door of the great chamber clap behind us. But we did not dare turn back to see if the giant was following us. Yet, now I think on it, we must have heard him if he had pursued us. But for heaven's sake, good Lord, good my lord, send for the chaplain and have the castle exorcised, for certain it is enchanted.
Peace, David! Fear nothing. It is but the fancy of thy addled brain that brings this giant to life, and nothing more. Think no more of it, and come.
Will your highness permit me to try this adventure? My life is of no consequence to nobody. I fear no bad angel of an offended no good one.
Your behavior is above your seeming, and so hereafter I will reward your bravery. But now I am so circumstanced that I dare trust no eyes but mine own. However, I give you leave to accompany me to the castle. Thou shalt abide there for this night, and perhaps on the morrow we will talk more of adventure.
Matilda's bedchamber. Matilda and Bianca are by the window together.
And so Diego tells me that my Lady Isabella is nowhere to be found. No one knows what has become of her, or why she's so abruptly flown from the castle. My lord the prince, your father, goes storming around the castle, glaring and roaring and making a terrible noise, demanding the immediate services of my Lady Hippolyta's chaplain. And all the time, there is a giant, or at least a great leg and a great foot, in the great gallery. Just the thought of it is enough to send a chill through my very veins. Oh, my dear lady, what is to become of us?
But what business could he have so urgent with the chaplain? Does he intend to have my brother's body interred privately in the chapel?
Oh, madam. Now I guess. As you are become his heirs, he is impatient to have you married. He has always been raving for more sons. I warrant he is now impatient for grandsons. As sure as I live, madam, I shall see you a bride at last. Good madam, you won't cast off your faithful Bianca. You won't put Donna Rosario over me, now you are a great princess.
Poor Bianca, how fast your thoughts amble. I, a great princess. What hast thou seen in Manfred's behavior since my brother's death that bespeaks any increase of tenderness to me? No, Bianca, his heart was ever a stranger to me. But he is my father, and I must not complain. Nay, if heaven shuts my father's heart against me, it overpays my little merit in the tenderness of my mother. Oh, that dear mother. Yes, Bianca, 'tis there I feel the rugged temper of Manfred. I can support his harshness to me with patience, but it wounds my soul, wherein I am witness to his causeless severity towards her.
Oh, madam, all men use their wives so when they are weary of them.
And yet you congratulated me but now when you fancied my father intended to dispose of me in marriage?
I would have you a great lady, come what will. I do not wish to see you moped in a convent, as you would be if you had your will. And if my lady, your mother, who knows that a bad husband is better than no husband at all, did not hinder you. Bless me, what noise is that? St. Nicholas, forgive me, I was but in jest.
A terrible howling sound echoes through the room.
It is the wind, whistling through the battlements in the tower above. You have heard it 1,000 times.
Nay, there was no harm neither in what I said. It is no sin to talk of matrimony. And so, madam, as I was saying, if my lord Manfred should offer you a handsome young prince for a bridegroom, you would drop him a curtsy and tell him you would rather take the veil.
Thank heaven that I am in no such danger. You know how many proposals has rejected.
And you thank him like a dutiful daughter, do you, madam? Oh, but come, madam. Suppose tomorrow morning he was to send for you to the great council chamber, and there you should find at his elbow a lovely young prince, with large black eyes, a smooth white forehead, and manly curling locks like jet. In short, madam, a young hero resembling the picture of the good Alfonso in the gallery, which you sit and gaze at for hours together.
Do not speak lightly of that picture. I know the adoration with which I look at that picture is uncommon. But I'm not in love with a colored panel. The character of that virtuous prince, the veneration with which my mother has inspired me for his memory, the orisons which I know not why she has enjoined me to pour forth at his tomb, all have concurred to persuade me that somehow or other my destiny is linked with something related to him.
Lord, madam, how should that be? I have always heard that your family is in no way related to his, and I am sure I cannot conceive why my lady, the princess, sends you in a cold morning or a damp evening to pray at his tomb. He is no saint by the almanac. If you must pray, why does she not bid you address yourself to our great Saint Nicholas? I am sure he is the saint I pray to for a husband.
Perhaps my mind would be less affected if my mother would explain her reasons to me. But it is the mystery she observes that inspires me with this. I know not what to call it. As she never acts from caprice, I'm sure there is some fatal secret at bottom. Nay, I know there is. In her agony of grief for my brother's death, she dropped some words that intimated as much.
Oh, dear madam, what were they?
No, Bianca. If a parent lets fall a word and wishes it recalled, it is not for a child to utter it.
What? Was she sorry for what she had said? I'm sure, madam, you may trust me.
With my own little secrets, when I have any, I may, but never with my mother's. A child ought to have no ears or eyes, but as a parent directs.
Well, to be sure, madam, you were born to be a saint. There's no resisting one's vocation. You were lent in a convent at last. But there is my lady Isabella would not be so reserved with me. She will let me talk to her of young men. And when a handsome cavalier has come to the castle, she has owned to me that she wished your brother Conrad resembled him.
Bianca, I do not allow you to mention my friend disrespectfully. Isabella is of a cheerful disposition, but her soul is pure as virtue itself. She knows your idle babbling humor, and perhaps has now and then encouraged it to divert melancholy and enliven the solitude in which my father keeps us.
The howling sound is heard again!
Listen, Mary, there it is again! Dear madam, do you hear nothing? This castle is certainly haunted.
Peace and listen. I didn't think I heard a voice, but it must be fancy. Your terrors, I suppose, have infected me.
Indeed, madam, I am sure I heard a voice.
Does anybody lie in the chamber beneath?
Nobody has dared lie there since the great astrologer that was your brother's tutor drowned himself. For certain, madam, his ghost and the young princess are now met in the chamber below. For heaven's sake, let us fly to your mother's apartment.
I charge you not to stir. If there are spirits in pain, we may ease their sufferings by questioning them. They can mean no harm to us, for we have not injured them. And if they should, shall we be more safe in one chamber than in another? Reach me my beads. We will say a prayer and then speak to them.
Oh, dear lady, I would not speak to a ghost for the world.
Theodore appears at the window below. Bianca and Matilda cannot see him. He begins to sing.
Room without a window, can't see out. Room without a window, get see out, get see out.
This can be no evil spirit. It is undoubtedly one of the family. Open the window and we shall know the voice.
I dare not, indeed, madam.
Thou art a very fool.
Matilda opens the window.
Is anybody below? If there is, speak.
Yes,
Who is it?
a stranger. But pardon me, lady, if I have disturbed your rest. I knew not that I was overheard. Sleep had forsaken me. I left a restless couch and came to waste the irksome hours with gazing on the fair approach of morning, impatient to be dismissed from this castle.
Thy words and accents are of melancholy cast. If thou art unhappy, I pity thee. If poverty afflicts thee, let me know it. I will mention thee to the princess, whose beneficent soul ever melts for the distressed, and she will relieve thee.
I am indeed unhappy, and I know not what wealth is. But I do not complain of the lot which heaven has cast me. I am young and healthy, and not ashamed of owing my support to myself. Yet think me not proud, or that I disdain your generous offers. I will remember you in my orisons, and will pray for blessings on your gracious self and your noble mistress. If I sigh, lady, it is for others, not for myself.
Now I have it, madam. This is certainly the young peasant who Diego says helped my lady Isabella to escape from the castle. And by my conscience, he is in love. Well, this is a charming adventure. Do, madam, let us sift him. He does not know you, but takes you for one of my lady Hippolyta's women.
Art thou not ashamed, Bianca? What right have we to pry into the secrets of this young man's heart? He seems virtuous and frank and tells us he is unhappy. Are those circumstances that authorize us to make a property of him? How are we entitled to his confidence?
Lord, madam, how little you know of love. Why, lovers have no pleasure equal of talking of their mistresses.
Simpleton. Though he said he was unhappy, it does not follow that he must be in love. Think of all that has happened today, and tell me if there are no misfortunes but what love causes. Stranger, if thy misfortunes have not been occasioned by thy own fault, and are within the compass of the Princess Hippolyta's power to redress, I will take upon me to answer that she will be thy protectress. When thou art dismissed from this castle, repair to Holy Father Jerome at the convent adjoining to the Church of St. Nicholas, and make thy story known to him, as far as thou thinkest meet. He will not fail to inform the princess, who is the mother of all that want her assistance. Farewell. It is not seemly for me to hold farther converse with a man at this unwonted hour.
May the saints guard thee, gracious lady. But oh, if a poor and worthless stranger might presume to beg a minute's audience further, am I so happy.
Speak quickly. The morning draws apace. Should the laborers come into the fields and perceive us? What wouldst thou ask?
I would ask whether what I have heard from the domestics is true, that the princess is missing from the castle.
What imports it to thee to know? Thy first words bespoke of prudent and becoming gravity. Dost thou come hither to pry into the secrets of Manfred? Adieu, I have been mistaken in thee.
Matilda shuts the window, Theodore disappears from the stage.
I had acted more wisely if I had let thee converse with this peasant. His inquisitiveness seems of a piece with thy own.
It is not fit for me to argue with your highness, but perhaps the questions I should have put to him would have been more to the purpose than those you had been pleased to ask him.
Oh, no doubt you are a very discreet personage. May I know what you would have asked him?
A bystander often sees more of the game than those that play. Does your highness think, madam, that this question about my lady Isabella was a result of mere curiosity? No, madam, there is more in it than you great folks are aware of. Diego told me that all the servants believe this young fellow contrived my lady Isabella's escape. No, pray, madam. Observe, you and I both know that my lady Isabella never much fancied the prince, your brother. Well, he is killed just in a critical moment. I accuse nobody. A helmet falls from the moon. So my lord, your father, says, but Diego and all the servants say that this young spark is a magician and stole it from Alfonso's tomb.
Have done with this rhapsody of impertinence.
Madam, as you please. Yet it is very peculiar that my lady Isabella should be missing the very same day, and that this young sorcerer should be found at the mouth of the trapdoor. I accuse nobody. But if my young lord came honestly by his death...
Dare not on thy duty to breathe a suspicion on the purity of my dear Isabella's fame.
Purity or not purity, God, she is. A stranger is found that nobody knows. You question him yourself. He tells you he is in love or unhappy. It is the same thing. Nay, he owned he was unhappy about others. And is anybody unhappy about another unless they are in love with them? And at the very next word, he asks innocently, poor soul, if my lady Isabella is missing.
To be sure, thy observations are not totally without foundation. Isabella's flight amazes me. The curiosity of the stranger is very particular, yet Isabella never concealed a thought from me.
So she told you to fish out your secrets. But who knows, madam, that the stranger may be some prince in disguise. Oh, do, madam, let me open the window and ask him a few questions.
No. No, Bianca, it is not seemly at such an hour. I am persuaded that whatever be the cause of Isabella's flight, it had no unworthy motive. If this stranger was accessory to it, she must be satisfied with his fidelity and worth. I observed, did you not, Bianca, that his words were tinctured with an uncommon infusion of piety? It was no ruffian speech. His phrases were becoming a man of gentle birth.
Indeed, madam.
For Isabella's sake, I will believe well of this young peasant.
Manfred had risen at the first dawn of light and gone to Hippolyta's apartment to inquire if she knew aught of Isabella. While he was questioning her, word was brought that Friar Jerome demanded to speak with him. Manfred, little suspecting the cause of the friar's arrival, and knowing he was employed by Hippolyta in her charities, ordered him to be admitted, intending to lead them together while he pursued his search after Isabella.
Is your business with me or with the princess?
With both. The Lady Isabella is at St. Nicholas's altar.
That is no business of Hippolyta. Let us retire to my chamber, father. Inform me how she came thither.
No, my lord. My commission is to both, and with your highness's good liking, in the presence of both I shall deliver it. But first, my lord, I must interrogate the princess, whether she is acquainted with the cause of the Lady Isabella's retirement from your castle.
No, on my soul. Does Isabella charge me with being privy to it?
Father, I pray do reverence to your holy profession. But I am sovereign here, and will allow no meddling priest to interfere with the affairs of my domestic. If you have aught to say, attend me to my chamber. I do not use to let my wife be acquainted with the secret affairs of my state. They are not within a woman's province.
My lord, I am no intruder into the secrets of families. My office is to promote peace, to heal divisions, to preach repentance, and to teach mankind to curb their headstrong passions. I forgive your highness's uncharitable apostrophe. The Lady Isabella commends herself to both your highnesses. She thanks both for the kindness with which she has been treated in your castle. She deplores the loss of your son and her own misfortune in not becoming the daughter of such wise and noble princes, whom she shall always respect as parents. She prays for uninterrupted union and felicity between you, but as it is no longer possible for her to be allied to you, she entreats your consent to remain in sanctuary till she can learn news of her father, or by the certainty of his death, be at liberty, with the approbation of her guardians, to dispose of herself in a suitable manner.
I shall give no such consent, but insist on her return to the castle without delay. I am answerable for her person to her guardians, and will not brook her being in any hands but mine own. I am her parent, and I demand her.
She wished to have you for her parent, but heaven that forbade that connection has forever dissolved all ties betwixt you. And I announce to your highness...
Stop! Audacious man, and dread my displeasure!
Holy Father, it is your office to be no respecter of persons. You must speak as your duty prescribes. But it is my duty to hear nothing that it pleases not my lord I should hear. Attend the prince to his chamber. I will retire to my oratory and pray to the Blessed Virgin to inspire you with her holy counsels, and to restore the heart of my gracious lord to its wonted peace and gentleness.
Excellent woman. My lord, I attend your pleasure.
Manfred and Jerome returned to Manfred's apartment in the castle.
I perceive, father, that Isabella has acquainted you with my purpose. Now hear my resolve and obey. Reasons of state, most urgent reasons, mine own and the safety of my people, demand that I should have a son. It is in vain to expect an heir from Hippolyta. I have made my choice of Isabella. You must bring her back. You must do more. I know the influence you have with Hippolyta. Her conscience is in your hands.
The will of heaven be done. I am but its worthless instrument. It makes use of my tongue to tell thee, Prince, of thy unwarrantable designs. The injuries of the virtuous Hippolyta have mounted to the throne of pity. By me thou art reprimanded for thy adulterous intention of repudiating her. Come, my lord, let us return to the princess. She is not apprised of your cruel intentions, nor did I mean more than to alarm you. You saw with what gentle patience, with what efforts of love she heard. She rejected hearing the extent of your guilt. I know she longs to fold you in her arms and assure you of her unalterable affection.
Never mind, Hippolyta. I expect, father, that you satisfy me in one point at least. Who is the youth that I found in the vault? He must have been privy to Isabella's flight. Tell me, truly, is he her lover? Or is he an agent for another's passion? I have often suspected Isabella's indifference to my son. 1,000 circumstances crowd on my mind that confirm that suspicion. She herself was so conscious of it that while I discoursed her in the gallery, she outran my suspicions and endeavored to justify herself from coolness to Conrad.
I know nothing of this youth. True, Isabella is a young and impressionable lady. It is most likely that she has felt some pangs of affection for a young adventurer. And yet, was it a young man that caused her flight? No, my lord, no. You yourself know best from what the lady Isabella flew. I counsel you against...
I'll find the bottom of this intrigue. Diego, bring that impetuous young peasant to me.
Diego hurries off and returns with Theodore.
You summoned me, my lord?
Thou hardened young impostor, what becomes of thy boasted veracity now? Tell me, audacious boy, who thou art, and how long thou hast been acquainted with the princess. And take care to answer with less equivocation than thou didst last night, or torture shall wring the truth from thee.
I am no impostor, my lord, nor have I deserved opprobrious language. I answered to every question your highness put to me last night with the same veracity that I shall speak now. I am a laborer at the next village, and my name is Theodore. The princess found me in the vault last night. Before that hour, I never was in her presence. She told me that she was on the brink of destruction, and that if she could not escape from the castle, she was in danger in a few moments of being made miserable forever.
And on this slight foundation, on a silly girl's report, thou didst hazard my displeasure?
I fear no man's displeasure when a woman in distress puts herself under my protection.
Matilda and Bianca are walking by and catch sight of Manfred, Jerome, and Theodore in conversation.
Heavens, Bianca, do I dream? Or is not that youth the exact resemblance of Alfonso's picture in the gallery?
Indeed, madam.
This bravado surpasses all thy former insolence. Thou shalt experience the wrath with which thou darest to trifle. Seize him, and bind him. The first news the princess hears of her champion shall be that he has lost his head for her sake.
The injustice of which thou art guilty towards me convinces me that I have done a good deed in delivering the princess from thy tyranny. May she be happy, whatever becomes of me.
This is a lover. The peasant within sight of death is not animated by such sentiments. Bear away into the courtyard. I shall see his head this instant severed from his body.
Matilda faints in shock and horror at her father's words. Bianca screams.
Help! Help! The princess is dead!
Hasten to the aid of the soul, father, for I shall not give you many minutes for confession.
Nor do I ask many, my lord. My sins, thank heaven, have not been numerous, nor exceed what might be expected at my years. Dry your tears, good father, and let us dispatch. This is a bad world, nor have I any cause to leave it with regret.
The youth, who felt his indignation rise, and who was touched with the sorrow with which he had infused into all the spectators, as well as into the friar, suppressed his emotions, and pulling off his doublet and unbuttoning his collar, knelt down to his prayers. As he stooped, his shirt slipped down below his shoulder, and discovered the mark of a bloody arrow.
Gracious heaven, what do I see? It is my child, my Theodore.
What may this mean? How can he be thy son? Is it consistent for thy profession or reputed sanctity to avow a peasant's offspring for the fruit of thy irregular amours?
Thou questions being mine? I feel the anguish I do if I were not his father. Spare him, good prince, spare him, and revile me as thou pleasest.
Peace! I must know more ere I am disposed to pardon. A saint's bastard may be no saint himself.
Injurious lord, and not insult to cruelty. If I am this venerable man's son, though no prince as thou art, know the blood that flows in my veins.
Yes, his blood is noble, nor is he that abject thing, my lord, you speak him. He is my lawful son, and Sicily can boast a few houses more ancient than that of Falconara. But alas, my lord, what is blood? What is nobility? We are all reptiles, miserable, sinful creatures. It is piety alone that can distinguish us from the dust whence we sprung, and whither we must return.
Truce to your sermon! You forget you are no longer Friar Jerome, but the Count of Falconara. You will have time to moralize hereafter if you should not obtain the grace of that sturdy criminal there.
Mother of God, is it possible my lord could refuse a father the life of his long-lost child? Trample me, my lord, afflict me, accept my life for his, but spare my child.
Return to thy convent, and conduct the princess hither, obey me what else thou knowest, and I promise thee the life of thy son.
Oh, my lord, is my honesty the price I must pay for this dear youth's safety?
For me, let me die 1,000 deaths rather than stain thy conscience. What is it that the tyrant would exact of thee? Is the princess still safe from his power? Protect her, thou venerable old man, and let all the weight of his wrath fall on me.
Ere Manfred could reply, the trampling of horses was heard, and the brazen trumpet, which hung without the gate of the castle, was suddenly sounded. At the same instant, the sable plumes of the enchanted helmet, which still remained at the other end of the court, were tempestuously agitated, and nodded thrice, as if bowed by some invisible wearer.
Father, what mean these portents? If I have offended, unhappy prince that I am, Holy Father, will you not assist me with your prayers?
My lord, heaven is no doubt displeased with your mockery of its servants. Submit yourself to the church, and cease to persecute her ministers. Dismiss this innocent youth, and let her respect the holy character I wear. Heaven will not be trifled with, you see.
I acknowledge I have been too hasty. Father, do you go to the wicked and demand who is at the gate?
You grant me the life of my son, of Theodore?
I do!
Jerome exits briefly, and returns to Manfred, this time with Frederick, a knight.
I am the knight of the giant saber. And I must speak with the usurper of Otranto.
This is not a euphemism. Frederick literally has a giant-sized weapon that looks way too large for him to actually carry.
Usurper, insolent villain, who dares to question my title? Retire, Father. This is no business for monks. I will meet this presumption myself. Go to your convent and prepare the princess's return. Your son shall be a hostage for your fidelity. His life depends on your obedience.
Good heaven, my lord. Your highness did but this instant freely pardon my child. Have you so soon forgot the interposition of heaven?
Heaven does not send presumptuous strangers to question the title of a lawful prince. I doubt whether it even notifies its will through friars, but that is your affair, not mine. At present, you will know my pleasure, and it is not a saucy interloping knight that shall save your son if you do not return with the princess.
Poor confused Jerome exits hastily.
I come to thee, Manfred, usurper of the Principality of Otranto, as the renowned and invincible knight, the knight of the gigantic saber. In the name of my lord Frederick, Marquis of Vincenza, I demand the Lady Isabella, daughter of that prince, whom thou hast basely and traitorously got into thy power by bribing her false guardians during his absence. And I require thee to resign the Principality of Otranto, which thou hast usurped from the said Lord Frederick, the nearest of blood, of the last rightful Lord Alfonso the Good. If thou dost not instantly comply with these just demands, I dust thee to single combat to the last extremity.
And where is this braggart Frederick? Who sends thee?
At the distance of a league, he comes to make good his claim against thee, as he is a true prince, and thou an usurper and ravisher.
Sir Knight, we liquidate our differences by the sword. I would hold some converse with you. You are welcome to my castle, where by my faith, as I am a true knight, you shall have courteous reception and full security for yourself and your followers. If we cannot adjust our quarrels by amicable means, I swear you shall depart in safety, and we shall have full satisfaction according to the law of arms. So help me God and his holy Trinity.
I scorn your hospitality. The home of a usurper shall be no heaven for the knight of the gigantic saber.
You come, Sir Knight, as I understand, in the name of the Marquis of Vincenza, to redemand the Lady Isabella, your daughter, who has been contracted in the face of Holy Church to my son. but by the consent of her legal guardians, and to require me to resign my dominions to your lord, who gives himself for the nearest blood of Prince Alfonso, whose soul, God rest. I shall speak to the latter article of your demands first. You must know, your lord knows, that I enjoy the principality of Otranto from my father, Don Manuel, as he received it from his father, Don Ricardo. Alfonso, thy predecessor, dying childless in the Holy Land, bequeathed his estate to my grandfather, Don Ricardo, in consideration for his faithful services. But to the point. You require me to deliver up the Lady Isabella. Sirs, I must ask if ye are authorized to receive her.
I am.
Well, you are authorized to receive her, but, gentle knight, may I ask if you have full powers?
I do.
'Tis well. Then hear what I have to offer. You see, gentlemen, before you, the most unhappy of men. Afford me your compassion. I am entitled to it indeed. I am. No. I have lost my only hope, my joy, the support of my house. Conrad died yesterday morning. Yes, sir, fate has disposed of my son. Isabella is at liberty.
Do you then restore her?
Afford me your patience. No! Thus then, sirs, it is. You think me ambitious. Ambition, alas, is composed of more rugged materials. If I were ambitious, I should not for so many years have been a prey to all the hell of conscientious scruples, but I bear your patience. I will be brief. Now then, that I have long been troubled in my mind on my union with the Princess Hippolyta, oh sirs, if you were acquainted with that excellent woman, if ye knew that I adore her like a mistress and cherish her as a friend, but man was not born for perfect happiness. She shares my scruples, and with her consent, I have brought this matter before the church, for we are related within the forbidden degrees. I expect every hour a definitive sentence that must separate us forever, and I'm sure you feel for me, as you do. Pardon these tears. The death of my son presiding, while my soul was under this anxiety, I thought of nothing but resigning my dominions and retiring forever from the sight of mankind. My only difficulty was to fix on a successor, who would be tender of my people and dispose of the Lady Isabella, who is dear to me as my own blood. The Lady Isabella is at liberty. I shall soon be so. I would submit to anything for the good of my people, were it not the best, the only way to extinguish the feud between our families, if it was to take the Lady Isabella to wife. You start. But, though the Lady Hippolyta's virtues will ever be dear to me, a prince must consider himself, not consider himself, he is born for his people. If she is unable to provide me with an heir, then I must seek elsewhere for the sake of my people.
My lord the prince, the Lady Isabella is fled and gone. We cannot find her at the convent. I protest her flight was not my doing, nor was it my son's. I beg your highness's forbearance.
Thou traitor prince! Isabella shall be found.
Everyone rushes off stage. Matilda enters the room in which Theodore is kept prisoner.
Young man, though filial duty and womanly modesty condemn the step I am taking, yet holy charity surmounting all other ties justifies this act. Fly. The doors of thy prison are open. My father and his domestics are absent, but they may soon return. Be gone in safety, and may the angels of heaven direct thy course.
Thou art surely one of those angels. None but a blessed saint could speak, could act, could look like thee. May I not know the name of my divine protectress? Methought thy name's thy father. Is it possible? Can Manfred's blood feel holy pity? Lovely lady, thou answerest not. But how art thou here thyself? Why dost thou neglect thy own safety, and waste a thought on a wretch like Theodore? Let us fly together. The life thou bestowest shall be dedicated to thy defense.
Alas, thou mistakest. I am Manfred's daughter, but no dangers await me.
Amazement! But last night I blessed myself for yielding thee the service thy gracious compassion so charitably returns now.
Still thou art in an error, but this is no time for explanation. Fly, virtuous youth, while it is in my power to save thee. Should my father return, thou and I both should indeed have cause to tremble.
How thinkest thou, charming maid, that I will accept of life at the hazard of aught calamitous to thee? Better I endure 1,000 deaths.
I run no risk but by thy delay. Depart, it cannot be known that I have assisted thy flight.
Swear by the saints above that thou canst not be suspected, else here I vow to await whatever can befall me.
Oh, thou art too generous. But rest assured that no suspicion can alight on me.
Give me thy beauteous hand in token that thou dost not deceive me, and let me bathe it with the warm tears of gratitude.
Oh, forbear, this must not be.
Alas, I have never known but calamity until this hour. Perhaps shall never know other fortune again. Suffer the chaste raptures of holy gratitude. 'Tis my soul would print its effusions on thy hand.
Forbear and be gone. How would Isabella approve of seeing thee at my feet?
Who is Isabella?
Oh, me. I fear I am serving a deceitful one. Hast thou forgot thy curiosity this morning?
Thy looks, thy actions, all thy beauteous self seem an emanation of divinity, but thy words are dark and mysterious. Speak, lady, speak to thy servant's comprehension.
Thou understandest but too well, but once more I command thee to be gone. Thy blood, which I may preserve, will be on my head if I waste the time in vain discourse.
I go, lady, because it is thy will, and because I would not bring the gray hairs of my father with sorrow to the grave. Say, but adored lady, that I have thy gentle pity.
Stay. I will conduct thee to the subterraneous vault by which Isabella escaped. It will lead thee to the church of St. Nicholas, where thou mayest take sanctuary.
What? Was it another and not thy lovely self that I assisted to find the subterraneous passage?
It was. But ask no more. I tremble to see thee still abide here. Fly to the sanctuary.
Theodore went pensively to the convent to acquaint his father with his deliverance. There he learned the absence of Jerome and the pursuit that was making after the Lady Isabella, with some particulars of whose story he now first became acquainted. The generous gallantry of his nature prompted him to wish to assist her, but the monks could lend him no lights to guess at the route she had taken. He was not tempted to wander far in search of her, for the idea of Matilda had imprinted itself so strongly on his heart that he could not bear to absent himself at much distance from her abode. The tenderness Jerome had expressed for him concurred to confirm this reluctance, and he even persuaded himself that filial affection was the chief cause of his hovering between the castle and monastery. Until Jerome should return at night, Theodore at length determined to repair to the forest that Matilda had pointed out to him. Arriving there, he sought the gloomiest shades, as best suited to the pleasing melancholy that reigned in his mind.
Ah, fair lady, my thoughts turn again and again to your heavenly face.
Isabella emerges from the forest.
Sure, I have heard that voice before.
Not to my knowledge, unless, as I conjecture, thou art the Lady Isabella.
Merciful heaven, thou art not sent in quest of me, art thou? I beseech you, gentle youth, do not deliver me up to Manfred.
To Manfred? No, lady. I have once already delivered thee from his tyranny, and it shall fare hard with me now, but I will place thee out of the reach of his daring.
Is it possible that thou shouldst be the generous unknown whom I met last night in the vault of the castle? Sure, thou art not immortal, but my guardian angel. On my knees, let me thank.
And hold, gentle princess, nor demean thyself before a poor and friendless young man. If heaven has selected me for thy deliverer, it will accomplish its work, and strengthen my arm in thy cause. But come, lady, we are too near the mouth of the cavern. Let us seek its inmost recesses. I can have no tranquility till I have placed thee beyond reach of danger.
Alas, what mean you, sir? Though all your actions are noble, though your sentiments speak the purity of your soul, is it fitting that I should accompany you alone into these perplexed retreats? Should we be found together, what would a censorious world think of my conduct?
I respect your virtuous delicacy, nor do you harbor a suspicion that wounds my honor. I mean to conduct you into the most private cavity of these rocks, and then at the hazard of my life, to guard their entrance against every living thing. Besides, lady, beauteous and all perfect as your form is, and though my wishes are not guiltless of aspiring, no, my soul is dedicated to another, and although...
Frederick enters, searching for Isabella.
Isabella! What ho! Isabella!
Fear nothing, princess. Take comfort. I shall be always by thy side.
Theodore, drawing his sword, approaches Frederick.
And who art thou who dares to cross my way?
One who does not dare more than he will perform.
I seek the Lady Isabella, and understand she has taken refuge among these rocks. Impede me not, or thou will repent having provoked my resentment.
Thy purpose is as odious as thy resentment is contemptible. Return whence thou camest, or we shall soon know whose resentment is most terrible.
The knight of the gigantic saber had gouged from Manfred as he was busy in getting information of the princess, and giving various orders to prevent her falling into the power of the knight. The knight suspected Manfred of being privy to the princess's absconding, and this insult from a man, who he concluded was stationed by that prince to secrete her, confirming his suspicions, he made no reply, but discharging a blow with his saber at Theodore, would soon have removed all obstruction, if Theodore, who took him for one of Manfred's captains, and who had no sooner given the provocation than prepared to support it, had not received the stroke on his shield. The valor that had so long been smothered in his breast broke forth at once. He rushed impetuously on the knight, whose pride and wrath were not less powerful incentives to hardy deeds. The combat was furious, but not long. Theodore wounded the knight in 3 several places, and at last disarmed him as he fainted by the loss of blood.
Isabella will now be safe from the hands of the cruel Abishur Manfred.
Manfred, generous foe, we have been in an error. I took thee for an instrument of the tyrant. I perceive thou hast made the like mistake. It is too late for excuses. I faint. If Isabella is at hand, call her. I have important secrets.
He's dying. Isabella! Isabella, come forth. I have been so unfortunate by mistake to wound a gentleman of your father's court. Isabella!
Art thou, pray tell me truly, art thou Isabella of Vicenza?
I am. Good heaven, restore thee.
Then thou seest thy father.
Amazement! Horror! What do I hear? What do I see? My father! You are my father! How came you here, sir? For heaven's sake, speak! Oh, run for help or he will expire!
'Tis most true. I am Frederick, thy father. Yes, I came to deliver thee. It will not be. Give me a parting kiss and take.
Sir, do not exhaust yourself. Suffer us to convey you to the castle.
To the castle! Is there no help nearer than the castle? Would you expose my father to the tyrant? If he goes thither, I dare not accompany him, and yet I cannot leave.
My child, it matters not for me whether I am carried. A few minutes will place me beyond danger. But while I have eyes to dote on thee, forsake me not, dear Isabella. This brave knight, I know not who he is, will protect thy innocence. Sir, you will not abandon my child, will you?
Never. I will protect her until the last. You may fear nothing, princess. You are my principal care.
Theodore, supporting Frederick, exits, with Isabella trailing behind them. And now, intermission.